Hello, delicious friends. Can you hear me? Hello, who do we have? Boss? Can you hear me? Loud and clear. Nice. Awesome. Who else have we got? Hi guys, welcome to the latest Failbetter podcast. As you can see, our beautiful marketing manager is not here today. She's on holiday, and there's very few people in the office today. Everybody's busy drawing or writing or coding, so it's just me. Lovely eye. It's amazing, isn't it? Our lovely developer Liam set that up for me, so it does look pretty cool. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you around our latest build, the threat build. Has anybody had a chance to play it yet? Has everybody got their owl yet? Maybe nobody's played it. Well, I'm going to show you around today anyway, so let me get set up. I want to know if the audio is too loud for you on the game. How's that? Let me know if this is too loud. Okay, so like I said, we're going to explore the threat build, which we put out on Wednesday. I'll do a little summary of what the main things it contains, and then I want to actually try and show you some of these things. So we've made a load of AI tweaks, and we've put out some like wrath kind of feedback with our agents. Hopefully I'm going to get into a couple of fights today and show you that. We've also put out hazardous discoveries. So they're just like regular discoveries, only they've got a chance to either increase your terror or spawn a beastie, do terrible things to you. And as part of the hazardous discoveries, there's also the weather. And these are random spawn zones. So I'm going to try and find some to show you. But because they're random, we might not encounter any, but I've got my handy little map so that I can see where I'm going. And I will try and find some nice weather for you. And along with that, my favourite update is the scouts. Now, if you're one of our Kickstarter backers, you should have your Cyclopean Owl. He went missing for a while, but he should be there with you now. And no, sorry, that's our CEO passing a message on to me. So yeah, one of the big things I want to show you today are the scouts, and I would love to show you the Cyclopean Owl, but that would be a bit cruel because some of you won't ever receive him. So if you ever want an exclusive item like that, back us our Kickstarter campaign next time. But I am going to show you some of the others. So let's make a start. Oh, somebody's yes, the Ratronaut is my favourite as well. I'm going to show you some Ratronaut stuff. And do ask questions as we go along, and I will try my best to answer them while I'm flying about. So, first things first, and do let me know if the audio of the game is too loud. So, we are going to pick up. You can see I've got all the fuel today, all the supplies because we're going to need them, and I've already got a Cavi, because he's amazing, but what I want is the Ratronaut. And you can pick him up from the first place you can pick him up is by going to speak to Mr. Menagerie at New Winchester. So here we go. A tattered poster by the station advertises the services of Mr. Menagerie, purveyor of fine scouts. An accompanying picture displays a tall cloaked figure, slightly stooped, clutching an array of adorable little beasts close to its long chest. This is, by the way, one of my favourite pieces of content at the moment, because I'm all about the pets. So a pile of cages looms out of the smog. The cloaked figure looks up as you approach. Its garnet-hued eyes gleam from the darkness of its hood. Pets, it rasps, hopefully, in a voice like a cleaver on a whetstone. We trade pets for things and stories. It leans closer to you. We're leaving soon. So, this is where you will be able to grab a diffident bat if you've lost yours for some reason. This is the Star-Smitten bat. He's a little bit better than diffident bat, but he's still a little bit... He's not too good. I think he's very brave, and he's got a very long range on him, but he only finds one thing at a time, and he doesn't categorise it for you. And here's the Ratronaut, who is amazing. He's very brave, so he's got a long range. He's very curious, so he finds a lot of things, but he's a little bit like, well, I don't know what they are, so he won't categorise them for you. So, purchase a Ratronaut. And you can see here, you need a moment of inspiration and a condemned experiment, and I have plenty of those because I've made sure I do. So, the rat in the cage at the top of the pile is wearing a miniature sky suit and a very determined expression. The Ratronaut glowers as Mr. Menagerie scoops it from its cage. Are we moving again? Can't you find me a locomotive? I want to be in the sky again. I need to feel the light of a star on my tail. Mr. Menagerie holds the creature up and introduces you. The Ratronaut narrows its beady eyes, considering you. The decision is made. It jumps onto your shoulder and prods your cheek. Come on, Captain, let's get to it. Mr. Menagerie shakes its head and begins to gather up its things. Oh, typo right there. There's our first bug of today. So we're going to be doing a little bit of bug hunting as well, because as the tester I can't help but find bugs. So he's preparing for the next leg of his journey. What happens now is he'll leave you a note and he will give you a clue as to where he's going next. So he'll move on to another port now, and I think he moves on to 3 or 4 in the Reach, and then he goes to Albion, and after that he'll go to Eleutheria. So like we said in our patch notes, don't squander your opportunities to get these scouts at the moment. So a few more things before we set off. I'm going to repair my hull because I've already been in a fight, and we'll pick up the Fastidious Inspector, because what we might do if we've got time is head to Port Prosper and enter Albion. That will do. So just before we set off, I'm just going to have a look at some questions. Want to see the Ratronaut. Excuse me, do you have an extra 42? Yes, I've got a lot of hold space. I've got some really cool items here that increase my hold. So I've got a hold of 62. In fact, we will just buy a little bit more fuel and supplies. Oh, can you hear that? Isn't that cute? There we go. We're ready. How do you get to the centre of the storm? I just go around the edge. That's a good question. It's very hard. You have to, you just have to be very determined to get to the centre. It's pushing you away. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Best scout. Okay, right, let's set off. In fact, let's not, because I want to equip my Ratronaut first. I want to show you him first before the cabbie. That's a good start. There we are. Bar's appreciating the cash register noise there. Okay. So I'm going to get out of the new Winchester area because there's not a huge amount of stuff to find within the hub port. Let's see. Uh-oh. Whoops. So talk a little bit about the agents. One of the things that we've tweaked in this build is the AI and the node zones. So the agents should be behaving a little bit more smartly. You should see less of them going up to rocks and just going hello. I think you might see that here and there. So do let us know if you do. I'll go away. But they should be able to move around the Reach much more easily now. And one of the things that we've also included in this build is some wrath feedback. So as you're pootling along the high wilderness, if something takes a dislike to you, you're going to see like a little crescent around your locomotive, which will indicate the direction that the beastie is in that's taken a dislike to you. And oh, here we go. Perfect. And so the more annoyed it gets with you, that will increase in colour from white to red, and then it will pulse, and that's when you know that something's definitely coming after you. So, I knew it was going to be one of these guys. Oh. Hostile dudes. And something else is now aggroing itself onto me. They just don't like my pretty ship, so let's see if we can... Another thing that we've been tweaking is the all the variables that will cause the different beasties to take a disliking to you. So it could be that because you're running a certain prospect, if you're running a prospect where you're sending munitions to the Tacites, then all the enduring dreadnoughts that are not going to be pleased to see you. One of my favourite changes are to the bees. There we go. I'm going to leg it now. Yee! So yeah, the bees are very, very territorial now, and they will generally stay in their area. And if you go and have a poke around near them, they'll get a little bit annoyed, but they'll mostly leave you alone. But if you, for example, mine a hive and steal their nectar, they get really annoyed, and that's when they're going to come after you. So, you find your Rattronaut perched on the window, wrestling with an old grief. I am sorry, Captain. Leave me alone, will you? There are things of which I cannot speak. And its report? Oh yes, of that I can speak. So he's found something for me. I ought to kill this guy, really, and get him off my tail. Let's have a quick look at our map. Oh, so this is what the Rattronaut does. He can find up to 3 things, and you notice the question mark icon there is because he's like, well, I found something, but I have no idea what it is. He does mark ports with a proper icon, though, so I think this is Palmyra and Plenty's. Let's go and have a look. I'm going to have to kill this guy. So, does the Rattronaut have the same sound and icon as the bat? Yes, he does. So he does have the same icon. As for the bat, if you read, I'm sure it's somewhere in the select that he zips out on a little mechanical bat, which is so that's how we get around that. But that's just something that we've not updated yet. So actually, when you send out your owl, whoops, I've gone too far. It does sound like a bat. We're aware of that one. Hopefully I won't annoy this Cantankerai. Let's see. So I'm going to dock here, just in case I die, and that's where I can respawn then. Because I'm playing merciful mode, so I'm not hardcore like you guys. I don't like dying. Here we go. So. Ah, and Mr. Menagerie is back. Perfect. So if I wanted, I could purchase another little scout, but I won't do that. And he also has stories to tell you, but I'm not going to go into that lore. You can explore that yourself. So I'm going to acquire nothing and move on. Let me just check if there are any questions. Oh, there are a lot of you today. Does anybody know what a guinea pig sounds like? Oh yeah, that's really cool. As Jimmius points out, when you actually find our agents battling with each other. I think that looks really, really good. Did you hear that? So I know a lot of our players want a horn, but we've added a horn effect to the level up thing there. I'm sure a lot of you heard that, which is amazing. So here we go. Let's go and find out what these things are. Oh, I need to get out of this segment. And hopefully we can also find some weather. This is a very dangerous segment, but that was the whole point of the threat build. The game up to this point felt a little bit too safe, and we like to kill you, so that's what we're all about. So we've added a lot of danger, and hopefully you will have many deaths. Aha! Here we go. So it's a wreck. Scavenge. Reduce your terror, that's a good idea. We'll do that. So once you've made that discovery, because this is one of our transient discoveries, that will disappear. And we'll send out the bat again, see if he finds anything. There we go. He's found a few more things, but I'm gonna leg it because I can't fight all these guys. One of the things that we've included in this update was like the agents have a home spawning zone, so they shouldn't. I probably shouldn't tell you this because you're just going to run away from fights, but they will stop following you eventually. That's one of the things we've seen up until recently, that agents will follow you to the ends of the high wilderness, hunting you down. And if you don't actually want to fight, it's not very nice. So they should only follow you for so long, but we might tweak their speed. So don't think you can run away forever. So let's see. Have we got any questions? Oh, Chris is here, our narrative director. Oh, no. I've said that about these guys giving up the chase, but this guy is after me. So here is one of our homesteads. See what I can get out of this. This will reduce your terror, and if you're starving, buy you some time. Anything to reduce the terror. Let's go. So Jimmius has been chased down by bees. We're going to go and find some bees now. So I believe we're going to enter Port Avon. You hear that sound there? That was that. It sounds like the sound when you equip a new weapon or something. And I actually put that through as a bug and sent that to our sound guy. I'm like, I don't know why this is happening. And it turns out we've introduced that sound for when you start on your next barrel of fuel or supplies. So it wasn't actually a bug. Uh-oh. So I'm juddering a little bit here. Some of our players have reported a little bit of stuttering, and you can see that going off right now, and I think this is to do with our running it on a lower spec machine today. But we do need to do a little bit of optimization, especially now that we've increased these node zones for agents to get about. Let's send out this bat. This rat, even. There we go. There we go. He's found me a port. And some other things. There's another thing we've introduced, is all these lovely ambient messages. So we've got messages that appear when you're entering a new segment. There we go. Oh, repair my hull. Brilliant. Of course. So the reason that he didn't find that wreck that we just encountered there, was because when I sent him out, we were actually within range. Oh. So I need a sane for this, and that's one thing I don't have. What have I got? There, I've got butchery and mining, but I needed another auxiliary slot in order to have a piece of equipment that will allow me to assay, so that's the one thing I can't do today. Unless I change it. Here we go. Little pieces of debris scatter when you drive through them. It is amazing, and quite often I just push them around because it's fun. Bring them with me. So here we are at Port Avon. I'm going to dock and I'm going to change to the Cavvy now so that you'll be able to see the difference between the type of scouts that we've got. And then we're going to hunt down some weather, I think. Let's disembark. There we go. Let's close that down. So we'll pop the Cavvy on. Goodbye, Retronaut. Take a pebble from one end of the reach to the other. Yes, Chris, I've made sure that I've got enough fuel and supplies. In fact, let's stock up. Let's look at this. You can never have enough fuel and supplies. Ching ching. I have lots of supplies because the bat costs. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Right. So here we go. Let's see if this Cavvy can find anything for us. Now the Cavvy, he's really brave, so he's got a long range, and he's very accurate. So rather than the question mark, he's actually going to mark things properly with different icons, depending on whether it's a spectacle or it's something that gleams or something to crave. I've forgotten all the terms for them, but Chris will be able to help us out, won't you, Chris? How do the non-winged scouts negotiate the high wilderness? Oh, well, I think the Ratchnaut has got... Again, Chris might be able to tell us this. I'm sure it's the Ratchnaut that has a little mechanical bat. And I've forgotten how the Cavvy gets around. So yeah, something like a steam-powered glider. I can't remember now. So there's too many bees. I've annoyed these guys. All the bees. Oh, I thought that would annoy him. I don't think that's a fight that I'm going to win, so I'm going to go. Don't antagonize the bees, yes. Let's see. So that's another port, and what the scouts do is they will actually, if of the things that they can detect within their range, if there's a port, they will always prioritise that. So you can see there, you could have found that wreck for me, but because there's a port within range, he'll find that first. And then I think it's spectacles. Woo! And then permanent discoveries, and then all the transient ones that will, disappear with time. So, yes, Chris has confirmed both the Rat and the Cavvy have a little mechanical bat, little gliders that they zip out in. Bye, Hannah. So, what good is a pirate ship which it can't catch its prey? Well, it helps me get away from them, but like I said earlier, we might tweak them, but I do like the fact that they're a little bit slow, and these bees might finish them off for me. Eee. Will we see more marauders with tentacles? Maybe. I can't say. Oh, so the little graveyard icon. is a wreck, because that's slightly gruesome. Reduce our terror. And so I know where I'm going to head. I'm going to head towards where there should be well, there is a spawn zone for weather. Whether it spawns or not, we will soon see. Right. Yes, the guests are truly horrible, aren't they? I've really enjoyed seeing people on the forums come across the guests, and and your reactions the first time you meet one of those guys is amazing. I wonder what the lore is behind them. Fluke related, maybe. Oh, I will reveal nothing. There we go. Found me a port. Ooh, a little bit of an FPS drop there. Where are we? I don't know if you can hear this music, but this is my favourite piece of music in the game. There we go. So what has he found? Well, that's another icon, you see. So he only finds that one thing at a time. But that one, bit of a spoiler, but I know that that one's a spectacle. Not a nice one either. So, you know, he's useful because I can choose to avoid that now. So as we're going, if you've got any more questions, do shout them out. I'll do my best to answer, but Paul and Chris are also here, so they might be able to help with anything I'm not sure on. I'm going to hunt down some weather for you now. Oh no! Go away. So this is one of the changes we've made. You see the red glow on the Scribe Spinster? That means she's aggroed onto you. You've really annoyed her. And if I was brave enough to take her on, let's do this. This is one of the beasties that we've added feedback to in the way of damage. So at like 50% health, she's gonna start like oozing disgusting blood. I think it gets a wee bit worse. Overheating. There we go. So she's down to 50% now. Ugh. I'm gonna die. Oh. Hey, there we go. Sorry, I can't multitask when I'm fighting. I cannot speak. Let's see what we've got. I will gain some experience, I think. There we are. Ugh. So, any questions? Ah, weather! Brilliant. So this is the Peacock Wind. And what you'll find is it's a little bit scary, so my terror is increasing now. It's gone to double. Can you hear the terror music? See the awful camera effect starting, but it's increasing my supplies, so that's nice. But only up to that barrel that you're, 100% of that barrel that you're currently on. And if I just stop moving, you'll see that it's actually pushing me along. And one of our developers, Liam, placed all of these, and he's placed them in really nice areas where, while they're random spawns, there will be times where it sort of forces you to go into areas where there's like a horror spectacle. So you've got like choices to make. Do I Do I risk going through this nasty piece of weather, or should I go around it? Oh, but there's a like a horror spectacle waiting for me over there. So funny anecdote about this peacock wind. This was done by one of our artists, Toby, and I think he'd really had enough that day, and I think Chris was also winding him up a bit about what he wanted for this peacock wind, and made this comment about, can it have actual peacocks in it, please? And then the next thing, Toby had sent this video around with little peacock faces floating through the wind, and this peacock looked like really shocked. It was amazing. And then he got all these other requests, like, it needs to be trailing blood. So he put that in for us, and we should have really put a little gif of that out on Twitter. It was amazing. So, where are we now? Ooh. Let's send out my cavvy. See where we are. Just entered another segment. Onwards ho! Your cavvy flies into your cabin, its paws still pedalling its mechanical bat. There you go, he's on a mechanical bat. It insists its report cannot wait. So he's found something grave. And I appreciate that, the scouts cost money. Cost supplies to send out, so you won't be sending yours out as often as I am. But that's the whole point. I'm here to show how useful they can be. Any questions as we're poodling along? No, you didn't find that because we're in range. Let's see what we can get. Ooh. I'll show you this. I feel really awful with this. Listen to this cantanker ice cream. Oh, I don't like killing these guys. There we go. Soon over. Let's gain supplies. There we are. I know, Jim Hiss. Poor thing. I've tested that once and I won't test it again. It's cruel. See what this grave thing is. Oh, he's found nothing. So you'll also get these messages when your scout finds nothing. Oh, so this is one of the new Isambard line discoveries. I'm not going to interact with it because that's something that I don't want to spoil. You guys go and find that. So, I know that we're actually in the Port Prosper segment at the moment, so we'll head off to Albion in a minute. Ooh. There we go, he's found Port Prosper for me. Some of the failure messages are really awful. I think the Ratronaut cries. It's like you see a little tear rolling down his beautiful little face. It's like, that's awful. Who wrote that? There we go. Uh-oh. So I could really do with some hull right now. I don't want to take these guys on because I'm going to die. Here we go. So I'll dock there just so we've got a save point. In fact, let's drop off this lady. Yes, be gone. Give me my money. Excellent. So directions to Albion. I'm sure all of you know where the relay gate, transit relay is now. Dun, dun, dun. 2 dreadnoughts, that's a rare sight. Yes, it was until this build. We've spent a lot of time tweaking all the spawn zones for the threat build. So not only what spawns where, but what kind of qualities they react to. I'm sure some of you are already getting involved in the Winchester War, and so a lot of these guys should actually be reacting to you in the sense that they're going to try and kill you, so beware. Let's send out this cavalry. Oh, it's right here, look. That icon as well is that's another spectacle. That's the wonder icon. I know that's the best spectacle in game. It's the rat. Memorial to the unknown rat. So let's purchase a permit. Off we go. And while that's happening, I'm going to look for some questions in this chat. Anybody have any questions? No questions. There we go. Woo. Right. Let's see where we are. Let's think of what would be a good direction to head in. In fact, I might go to London and repair my hull, because I'm going to die soon. So let's see if he finds anything. I don't think there'll be much spawning in. Oh, that's one. There we go. That's our second bug of today. He's discovered the transit relay that I've already discovered in game, so we know about that one. We'll get that fixed for the next build. It is pretty, isn't it? Very pretty. Dirty and grimy. So he's found London for me. Let's see what else he finds. And this is a trade-off you're going to find with the scouts, because they all cost the same amount of supplies to send out. And so on one hand, like the Ratronaut, you might think he's better because, you know, you send him out once, he can find up to 3 things. So that's like good value, right? But he doesn't categorize them, so he might be saying, "Oh, go look over there," and it might be something very sinister that you don't actually want to go and look at. Whereas your Cavi, he will let you know exactly what that thing is. Let's Brabazon's found for me. What variables do the scouts have? Range, descriptiveness, number of things. Yes, so we've called them. I've got my list here. Bravery, that's whether he finds things within a close range or he's long range. And your brave scouts are the Star-Smitten Bat, the Cavi, and the Ratronaut. The next one is Curiosity. So he's either really curious and he'll, you know, the scout will bring back up to 3 items within that range. Or he'll just find one thing at a time. Again, it's got to be in his range. And then there's Acuity, which is whether he categorises it or not. So the ones that do categorise are the owl and the cavy, and everything else is just like, oh, there's something over there. Go and have a look. Here we go. Let's head in this direction. If you don't want to look at sinister things, why are you even playing something like that? This is a good point. There we go. Entering London now. This is where I need to think about what I'm doing. Otherwise I'm going to bump into things. And as I said earlier, we've improved our AI and our node zones, so we should see a lot less of the dreadnoughts, like just looking at buildings. And London was a really badly affected area for that. There we go. Oh. I need to repair my hull. You want to repair your locomotive. Phew. Right. There we are. Maybe we should buy, just to be on the safe side. In fact, we'll pick up some more prospects. Here's some of the changes that we've made, because before, when you clicked on a prospect, it would take you to another screen, and it's a little bit not very user friendly. So what we've changed is the second you click on it, it just says prospect accepted, and it turns up in your hold. And we've also labelled that, because before they looked like random icons. And we'll have that one as well. There we go. Right, yeah. Let's have a little bit more fuel. Ka-ching! There we are. Oh, one too many. Okay, I'm not just in this. Oh dear. Oh, bit lag. There we go. Whoops. Great, after repairing my hull, first thing I do is damage it. Hello. So what I would like to try and show you are the hazardous discoveries that spawn agents, but of course because they're random, we might not actually find one, but let's try. Let's find something over here. Oh, great, I'm not going to get through there. Gotta knock your hull on the port for good luck, absolutely. Oh, graves. I'm just going to push the little coffins around, I think. There we go. What do we do? Reduce our terror. We'll try for this. Oh, fail. I've got even less hull now. Alright. So I'm not going to take one of these guys on. I hate them. They've got very good guns. Ah, there we go. We'll head for that. So I've shown you the weather, or at least one type of weather, the peacock wind. There's also the candle wind and the storm that speaks. Have fun getting to the middle of that. And it is interactable, so there's a nice storylet there for you if you can get to the centre. But be warned, it also damages your hull, so you know, go prepared. I've shown you the scouts. What else? I'm trying to show you hazardous discoveries, but they are random, so let's see what we can find. Oh, more coffins. I'm going to ignore that, but I'm going to take a coffin with me. There we go. That's grim. And then we've discussed a little bit about the AI tweaks and the Wrath. And let's find something else that's grave. Is there any weather that's exclusive to the Reach and Albion? Oh, let me think. I think the Peacock Wind is exclusive to the Reach. You will see Candlewind around Albion as well, although we haven't finished implementing that yet, so you'll only see it in a couple of segments. And yeah, as Chris has just pointed out, Peacock Wind only appears in the Reach for lore reasons, and the Storm That Speaks will also appear in other places, but again, that's not actually been implemented yet. Oh, how exciting, I know where we are. What's the correspondence sigil for lore reasons? I'm not explaining this. That's one for Chris, I think, if he wants to explain that. Everything is for lore reasons. Let's see what he's found. Oh, he's found nothing. There we go. I'll head this way. So I assume that we're in the floating Parliament segment, because I don't know if you heard the bells earlier on. Big Ben. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, I think I'm going to change to the Ratronaut when we get to to this next port. And I'm wrong. We're at the Royal Society. I wondered if we maybe crossed a segment, because they, you know, if you cross over the borders, it will load multiple segments. Let's have a look at our map. Yeah. So I was in this segment here, but let me dock so I've got a save point. I'm going to go straight back out. You've wanted a correspondence tattoo. I want a correspondence tattoo as well. I want my own correspondence. Have that tattooed somewhere. I'm a fan of randomly bursting into flames. So... no, he's not found anything. Put cruise control on for a while. So, other than the hazardous discoveries, I think I've shown you everything that I wanted to show you today. So I'm going to go shortly. But do we have any questions about the game in general, or in particular the threat build that we've put out? What's the difference between a Cavi Scout and Sinning Jenny? I don't know. Maybe one for Chris. So is this literally in space for orbiting the Earth's atmosphere? Send him out. This is a really dangerous area of space. This is where curators hang out. I'm sort of hoping I'm not going to find one. Oh, cool. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, Bas. We wanted to show you around, rather than us just sat there talking about the build. I wanted to show you a few things. And it can be difficult because when these things are random spawns, it's a chance of whether I'm going to find it or not. Ugh. So this is a well, a persistent discovery. It should be able to interact with it. And again, this is one of those, because it's so scary, you can see that my terror is increasing. I'm not going to spoil the lore, the story there, so I'm going to ignore it, and we will move on. Oh god, what is that? That is the Well of the Wolf. Let's see if you can find anything else. Something glittery. I'm not going back that way. Curators are friendly, sure. Aha. Ooh, this is sparkly. So, let's mine it. New sound effects, that's awesome. Luckily or unluckily in some ways that wasn't a hazardous discovery, but that it could have been, and it could have spawned a cantankerite or some other nasty. Here we go. The curators are another thing that we've tweaked. So that, you know, they will react differently to you depending on whether or not you're carrying an egg. Well, I'm not going to tell you what that is, I'm going to let you find that out for yourself. There we go, this is the one. So it's spawned a little cantankerite for me, it's giving me a little ambient message, and he's not pleased to see me, but I'm gonna get rid of him quick. Die. Poor thing. Gain experience, I think. There we are. What else have we got? We've got lots of glittery things in this segment. Maybe he's not pleased to see you because you're shooting at him. Just like he started on me. Did you see the crescent? It's me or him, and I made sure I got there first. Oh, something is here. Maybe slightly misaligned. Oh, there we go. I know there are lots of things to mine in this segment. Oh yes, as Chris is pointing out, the next build will be the roleplay build, and the officers will be in that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hopefully. Yeah, this guy's ignoring me. So there'll be a lot more ambient text in game. So we like the ambient text. Here we go. Oh, a bit of flotsam and jetsam, that's all. Let's see what we get. Little cantankerite hanging around. Whoops. Oh, misclick. 10 hull, that's 10 hull, and then ram a cantankerite and lose it all. There we go. Ooh. So pretty. So that's nicely reducing my terror. I'm really surprised that my condition has not increased yet. And I wouldn't have gone through the slets and spoiled the story, but we have had some new nightmares put in. Really gruesome stories that as your condition increases, you see more and more of. I'm very lucky today. Not many hazard discoveries around. Yes, Harry Tuff's nightmares and M. Short's nightmares, they're very scary, and they've both got really amazing warped imaginations. Ah, that's it. He's found a floating parliament for me. So I'm going to dock there, and then we're going to end our podcast today because we've been going on for nearly an hour. And so if you've got any questions for me now, ask them, or you'll have to wait until next time. There we go. There we are. There we are. We're safe. Any questions? I'm just going to quickly look back through the text in case I've missed anything, but I'm guessing that you've asked your questions as we've gone along. I know Chris has been answering a few for you. Okay, no more questions. So I'm going to go. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've... we only saw one piece of weather, a couple of hazardous discoveries, and plenty of the scouts, which are the best thing in the game right now. So if you have any questions, you know where we are on forums. If you find any bugs, send us a report. We'll get them fixed. And we'll see you next time. So, bye!